Hello there, welcome to Conflict News 2042, neutral, unbiased coverage of Israel Palestine, a war for you. I have updates from the last 12 hours. What happened in the last 12 hours? What is happening now, these minutes in the Middle East between Israel and Palestinian fighters? Firstly, Lebanon-Israel border, sudden flare up in fighting there. Hezbollah today claimed responsibility for attacks on 5 sites on Israel-Lebanon border. And I said in the last video that Hezbollah is hitting targets very precisely in Israel, and it was confirmed today. A Hezbollah fighter was laid to rest. He was buried today. He died in border fighting yesterday. Secondly, United Nations interim force in Lebanon has issued a statement. This force is a peacekeeping force deployed on Lebanon-Israel border. Its headquarters was hit today. Secondly, Syria. Are Syrian fighters advancing towards Syria-Israel border? Thirdly, Iran made its position clear today. Is Iran going to be part of this conflict? If Israeli forces enter Gaza, will Iran join in? Iranian permanent mission at the UN spoke today. Details for you. And fourthly, Rafah border crossing. It is going to be opened in coming hours. Gaza to Egypt border crossing. Why are people of Gaza going to enter Egypt? And lastly, intense diplomatic efforts from the US to support Israel. Antony Blinken was still in the Middle East. He visited several countries in the last 72 hours, while Biden is also being invited by Netanyahu. Firstly, let's start from northern border of Israel, which is Israel-Lebanon border. Israel-Syria border is also northern border, you can say. Hezbollah today claimed responsibility for hitting 5 sites, military sites on Israel side of Israel-Lebanon border. Today, reportedly, Hezbollah fighters precisely hit those types of equipment which are being used for surveillance and monitoring. CCTV cameras were hit, motion detectors were hit, radars were hit. So you can now understand how precise the targets were, the strikes were from Hezbollah, that the missiles, the rockets precisely hit the cameras, the radars, and it has been confirmed. Videos have been shared today by Hezbollah, videos published by Hezbollah showing that the technical equipment at some sites in Israel on border were precisely hit from Lebanon. What are Hezbollah's capabilities? We'll do a separate video on that. Hezbollah's capabilities are known. In 2006, we saw a war between Hezbollah and Israeli forces. Back then, Hezbollah showed its capability to defend its territory. And since then, Hezbollah has improved its capabilities. We'll do a separate video. But these strikes indicate that Hezbollah could be a pain in the side for Israeli fighters. That is why just 5 minutes ago, Israeli military announced strikes on Hezbollah targets in Lebanon. Strikes already ongoing. For the last 5 days, we've been seeing drone strikes, artillery strikes and air strikes on Hezbollah targets in Lebanon by Israeli military. But it seems that 5 minutes ago, a major operation has been launched, air operation maybe, not ground invasion, of Israeli Air Force on Hezbollah targets. We'll do a separate next video on this operation launched by Israeli Air Force against Hezbollah targets. United Nations interim force is deployed on Lebanon-Israel border, deployed decades ago, and this is called UNWFIL, UNIFIL, UNIFIL, the nation's interim force in Lebanon. UNIFIL today issued a statement confirming that today there was intense exchange of gunfire between groups from Lebanon and Israeli military in several locations. UNIFIL's headquarters was hit too. A rocket hit UNIFIL headquarters in Nakora. I think it is in Lebanon, but UNIFIL officials remained safe. So a confirmation from UNIFIL that there is escalation in fighting, in rocket firing, missile firing, drone strikes, artillery strikes on Israel-Lebanon border. And Hezbollah says that today's escalation from Hezbollah is a warning. It's a warning for military, Israeli military. The military must stop its bombardment on Gaza. Meanwhile, a Hezbollah fighter was buried today in Lebanon. A big funeral was held. Hundreds attended the funeral of this fighter who was killed, I think, yesterday on Israel-Lebanon border in shelling, in strikes from Israel side. His name is Hussein al-Masri. You can see the picture on your screen of the funeral procession of Hussein al-Masri. Yes, Hezbollah fighters are dying too. Around 7 to 8 deaths confirmed so far of Hezbollah fighters in Lebanon. But today Hezbollah fighters carried out attacks on technical equipment. One tank was hit and one APC was hit too. And at least one casualty on Israeli Defense Force side is being confirmed in attacks from Lebanon. Meanwhile, a big development from Syria. Syria also shares border with Israel. Both Lebanon and Syria have pro-Iran elements. Hezbollah backed by Iran. In Syria too, we know that Iran has military presence. It has its Revolutionary Guards Corps people there. It has several proxies there. These proxies, IRGC, help Bashar al-Assad government. Russia also there. Americans have a base there too. Now, it is being reported that Iran-backed armed groups in Syria and Iranian Revolutionary Guard Corps members are marching towards Israel-Syria border from eastern Syria, from Deir ez-Zor and other areas. These fighters are moving towards Damascus, the capital, which is close to Syria-Israel border. It is being reported by some news sources. No rejection from the sources on the ground, Syrian sources. They are also confirming on condition of anonymity that yes, Iran-backed proxies are marching towards Israel border. Yes, they will not enter Israel, but they want to be positioned close to Israel border in Syria. So Hezbollah prepared, ready, and now Iran-backed elements getting ready in Syria too. It is being confirmed. Still no ground invasion of Israel from Syria or from Lebanon. In Syria, we know that 2 days ago, Israel conducted airstrikes on 2 airports. Aleppo airport and Damascus airport were hit in airstrikes by Israeli Air Force. Israel said that the airports were being used by Iranian groups to create instability in Israel. Syria condemned those attacks. The airports were put out of service. So, we're seeing tensions rise on Israel-Lebanon, Israel-Syria border. Meanwhile, we heard from Israeli Defense Minister today. He said that Israel does not want to escalate situation on Israel-Lebanon, Israel-Syria border. But the groups want, Iran-backed groups, they want the situation to escalate on a border. Iran took a position today, viewers. Is Iran going to join in if Gaza is invaded, if ground invasion of Gaza is launched, which could be imminent, because a general of Israeli military was heard talking about a ground invasion of Gaza today. His name is Lieutenant General Herzi Halvi. He was in southern Israel where he inspected some troops, met with them, and there he announced that our responsibility, he said, quote unquote, he said, our responsibility now is to enter Gaza and go to Hamas hideouts and finish Hamas once and for all. This is official position of Israel, that it is going to enter Gaza ground offensive. So far it has not begun. Iran took a position today. Iran says that its forces, its military will not be involved in this war, provided that Iranian nationals, Iranian interests are not hit by Israeli military. So whether Israeli military enters Gaza or not, Iranian military will not be part of the war. But it does not mean that Iran is out of the war. Iran is the main player here. Who is backing Hezbollah? Iran. Who is backing Syria-based groups? Iran. Who is backing Palestinian fighters? Iran. You cannot keep Iran out. Iran won't keep itself out. Yes, involvement won't be direct. Iran military will not be directly involved, but it will continue providing weapons. It will continue backing. Turkey is going to be involved too, I think. Turkey, Qatar, to some extent you will see the involvement. Main player is Iran. You will see indirect involvement of Iran, but Iranian mission at UN today said Iran won't be involved in this war. Meanwhile, Rafah border crossing on Egypt. Gaza border is going to be opened. Gaza shares border with only one country, outside country, and that is Egypt. An agreement has been reached, reportedly, for the evacuation of US nationals and foreign nationals who are in Gaza. And there are thousands, reportedly, hundreds rather. And some aid is also going to enter Gaza from Egypt. Aid entry into Gaza from Egypt and evacuation of foreign nationals from Gaza. That is why for a few hours, border crossing, Rafah border crossing on Gaza-Egypt border is going to be open in coming hours. Discussions were held between US and Egypt. Israel was involved too, and after that this agreement has been reached. Very importantly, WHO issued a statement today. World Health Organization, UN wing, WHO says that 4 hospitals have been hit in northern Gaza in strikes by Israeli military. WHO did not mention the name of Israeli military, but obviously strikes are being conducted by Israeli military, Israeli Air Force. 4 hospitals hit, and they have stopped all operations, out of service. 21 hospitals in Gaza have been issued notices. They should evacuate. WHO says that notices to hospitals to evacuate constitutes of war crimes. So war crimes, WHO, other organizations, they are saying that siege of Gaza is a violation of international law, that strikes on hospitals violation of international law, but nothing will happen, by the way. Israel has been accused of human rights abuses for years. Amnesty International, Human Rights Watch, several others have published dozens of reports about human rights abuse being committed by Israeli government, Israeli military. Nothing has happened so far. Meanwhile, intense diplomatic efforts by the US to support Israel. I think Antony Blinken in the last 72 hours has visited several Arab countries. He started from Israel around 2 days ago. Then he went to the West Bank, where he met with Palestinian Authority leader Mahmoud Abbas. West Bank is the seat of Palestinian government. From West Bank, Jordan, the country which shares border with Israel. Then to Qatar, Bahrain, Saudi Arabia, UAE, back to Saudi Arabia, Egypt, Jordan, second visit of Jordan, and back to Israel. He is arriving in Israel in coming hours. No Turkey in this loop. As I said earlier, Turkey is seen as pro-Hamas, pro-armed groups, pro-armed Palestinian groups. Turkey-US relations not very friendly. We know that. So Turkey is a NATO ally. So US does not trust Turkey. US has sent a carrier strike group in the Eastern Mediterranean, and this morning Turkey announced to conduct naval drills in the Eastern Mediterranean. Let's see how far Turkey will be involved in this conflict. Meanwhile, Netanyahu, the Israeli Prime Minister, invited US President Joe Biden to visit Israel. We have seen so far two top US diplomats visit Israel, Antony Blinken and then Lloyd Austin, Secretary of Defense. Will Biden visit Israel? That remains to be seen. So this is the overall situation. Meanwhile, rocket firing from Gaza by Palestinian fighters continuing. Just an hour ago, they fired dozens of rockets towards Tel Aviv, Israeli capital, and most of them were intercepted by Iron Dome air defense. By the way, Iron Beam is not operational so far. Pictures are being shared. Iron Beam is a laser-based air defense system which has been under testing. It is going to be deployed reportedly, but it has not been deployed. Some video game videos are being shared showing as if Iron Beam is in operation. Israeli military has confirmed that so far Iron Dome is working. Iron Beam, Israeli air defense system has not been deployed so far. This is the overall situation. Coming out was crucial because Netanyahu is holding a meeting. An hour ago, security assessment meeting started with participation of Netanyahu, Minister of Defense, top generals. So the meeting could conclude with some decisions about ground invasion of Gaza. There are differences reportedly. Some ministers are supporting ground invasion of Gaza, some are opposing. What will Netanyahu do? That remains to be seen. Thank you for watching.